A historian stands in a dusty Amsterdam attic. Sunlight cuts through a small round window, illuminating a cloud of floating dust motes. She kneels beside an old wooden trunk with rusted iron hinges. She lifts the heavy lid. Inside, a bundle of letters and a single, leather-bound diary sit wrapped in linen. She pulls the diary free. The leather is cracked and warm in her hands. She opens it carefully. The first page is dated October 1636. The ink has faded to a rusty brown. At the bottom of the entry, a signature, Pieter van der Meer. She traces the name with her fingertip. Then she begins to read aloud, her voice soft in the quiet attic. The first bulb I bought cost me everything I owned. I traded wool for a dream. But a dream is a dangerous thing to hold too tightly. The historian closes her eyes. She has studied the Tulip Mania for years. She knows the dates, the prices, the frenzy. But this diary is different. This is a man's own voice, raw and unpolished. She turns a few pages forward, scanning a line near the end. Her breath catches. She reads it aloud again. If I had sold on the 3rd of February, I would have been a wealthy man. I could have bought a house on the Herengracht. I could have retired. But I did not sell. I wanted more. The historian looks out the attic window at the rooftops of Amsterdam. The story of Pieter van der Meer is about to unfold. She settles onto a crate, the diary open in her lap, and begins to read from the beginning. Amsterdam, 1636. Pieter van der Meer stands at the window of his small cloth shop on the Warmoestraat. His hands rest on a bolt of undyed wool. The wool is coarse against his palms. Outside, the morning crowd bustles past. A familiar figure walks by. It is his neighbour, Jan. Jan wears a new velvet coat, deep burgundy, trimmed with silver buttons. The coat catches the light. Pieter watches Jan nod to a passing merchant with the easy confidence of a man who has money to burn. Pieter knows Jan was a herring merchant just last year, not wealthier than him, not smarter. But Jan bought tulip bulbs in the spring. Now Jan wears velvet. Now Jan laughs louder. Pieter steps back from the window. He looks around his own shop. Bolts of linen and wool line the walls. The counters are worn smooth. His hands, calloused from handling cloth, feel suddenly heavy. He walks to the back room. There, on a small desk, sits a leather pouch. Inside are his savings, 100 guilders saved over 10 years of careful trade. He picks up the pouch. It feels light. Too light. He ties it back and leaves the shop. He does not lock the door. He walks toward the Amstel River. He has heard stories of the floating tulip market there. Boats laden with bulbs. Traders shouting prices. Fortunes made before noon. A cold wind blows from the canal. Pieter pulls his cloak tighter. He decides he will only look. He will not buy. Not today. The tavern is thick with smoke and noise. Men in fine coats and worn jackets crowd around a long oak table. In the center of the table sits a small ceramic pot. Inside the pot, nestled in dark soil, is a single tulip bulb. The bulb is pale and speckled with faint purple streaks. It is a Semper Augustus, the rarest of them all. Pieter stands at the edge of the crowd. He watches a bulb merchant named Cornelius lift the pot. Cornelius has a sharp nose and quick eyes. He holds the bulb up to the candlelight. 1,000 guilders, Cornelius says. Not a guilder less. The crowd murmurs. Pieter feels his stomach tighten. 1,000 guilders. It would consume his savings and demand he borrow the rest. He steps forward. His voice is dry when he speaks. I will take it. Cornelius turns to him, a thin smile. On what terms, cloth merchant? Pieter pulls a folded piece of paper from his coat. It is a promissory note from a moneylender, a loan at high interest. The note is already signed. He offers it to Cornelius. Cornelius reads it slowly. He nods. He takes the note and pushes the pot toward Pieter. The crowd parts. Pieter picks up the pot. The bulb sits in its soil, quiet, inert. He holds it in his palm. It is heavier than he expected. It feels solid, real. He imagines the flower it will become. A flame of red and white petals, a thing of impossible beauty. He imagines selling it for 10,000 guilders. He imagines Jan's velvet coat turned to rags in comparison. He tucks the pot under his arm and steps out of the tavern into the cold Amsterdam night. The bulb feels like a promise burning in his hand. February 3rd, 1637. Pieter steps into the Haringpak Tavern and stops. The common room is louder than he remembers. Men crowd around a chalkboard nailed to the wall. A boy with a hoarse voice shouts the day's prices. Pieter pushes through. His eyes find the list. Semper Augustus. He reads the number twice. 2,200 guilders. His bulb, the one that cost him 1,000 and a year of debt, now worth more than double. He leans against the wall. His breath is shallow. A hand claps his shoulder. It is a trader he knows. You look pale, Pieter. Did you sell too soon? Pieter shakes his head. I own one. Bought it at 1,000. The trader's eyes widen. You are a rich man. Pieter walks home in a daze. The cold air does not cool his burning thoughts. 2,200. He could sell now, pay off his loan, have 1,000 guilders profit. But the prices are still climbing. Every day a new high. He thinks of Jan's house, of the coat, of the parties. He wants more. That night he does not sleep. By morning he has made his decision. He goes to the moneylender again. This time he offers his shop building as collateral. The moneylender eyes the deed. He writes a new note. Pieter signs. He walks out with enough credit to buy 2 more Semper Augustus bulbs. He does not hesitate. He buys them before noon. Now he owns 3. The bulb in his hand was just the first seed. Pieter stands outside his shop on Warmoes Street. He holds the iron key in his palm. It is cold. The sign above the door reads, Pieter van der Meer, Cloth and Fine Wool. He has spent 12 years building this business. He turns the key over. A buyer waits inside. A fat man with soft hands and a hard smile. The man holds out a purse. Pieter takes it. He hands over the key. The man steps inside and closes the door. Pieter does not look back. He walks to the tavern with the purse tucked under his coat. He finds a table in the corner. He empties the purse onto the worn wood. Guilders, silver coins, a few gold. He counts them twice. 800 guilders. He adds it to the money from the mortgage. He has nearly 4,000 guilders now. Enough for 2 bulbs, maybe 3. He hears an auction starting in the back room. Smoke thickens the air. Men shout bids. Pieter pushes through the crowd. On a wooden crate sits a pot with a viceroy bulb. It is rarer than the Semper Augustus. The auctioneer raises his hand. Bidding starts at 2,000. Voices fly across the room. Pieter waits. The price climbs to 3,000. Then 3,500. The room quiets. Only 2 bidders remain. A man in a velvet hat, and Pieter. The hat man calls 3,800. Pieter says 4,000. Silence. The auctioneer counts. The hat man shakes his head. Pieter is handed the pot. His hands tremble as he carries it to his table. He is all in now. No shop, no trade, only bulbs. Pieter's new house faces the Herengracht Canal. The gables are carved with tulips. The windows are tall and clear. He leads a dozen guests through the main hall. Candles flicker. Paintings hang on every wall. Each one shows a tulip in bloom. Red and white, purple and gold. The guests murmur in admiration. Pieter pours wine from a silver pitcher. His coat is new, velvet, like Jan's. He wears a lace collar. A woman compliments his taste. He bows. He feels light, invincible. The party moves to the dining room. A table groans under platters of roasted meat, sugared fruit, and pies shaped like tulip bulbs. The guests laugh. They toast Pieter's name. He raises his glass. To the flower that made us all rich. They cheer. But near the fireplace, a man in a dark suit watches. He is a banker from the exchange. He waits until the others are distracted. He pulls Pieter aside into a quiet alcove. "Pieter," he says, his voice low. "I have seen this before. The prices are not real. They are only whispers and promises. When the whispers stop, the money vanishes." Pieter stares at him. Then he laughs. A loud, easy laugh. He claps the banker on the shoulder. "You worry too much, old friend. The tulip is eternal. It will never stop." He refills the banker's glass until it overflows. The banker does not drink. Pieter jolts awake before dawn. A cold dread sits in his chest. He dresses without calling for his servant. He pulls on his boots and runs into the street. The canals are still grey with fog. He reaches the butter market. The square is packed with men. But no one is laughing. No one is trading. They stand in clusters, faces tight and pale. A man holds up a bulb. It is a rare viceroy. He shouts a price. 10 guilders. The crowd groans. Yesterday that same bulb was worth 1,000. Pieter pushes through. He sees a man weeping on a barrel. He sees another tear up a contract and throw the pieces into the wind. Pieter reaches the central table. He pulls out his own Semper Augustus bulb. He holds it high. No one looks. He calls out a price. 2,000 guilders. Silence. He drops it to 1,000. A trader shakes his head. He drops it to 500. Someone laughs. It is a bitter, hollow laugh. Pieter's hand trembles. He lowers the bulb he had mortgaged his shop for, the bulb he had sold his business for. It is just a flower now. A man beside him whispers, "It is over. The market is dead." Pieter turns and runs. He runs past the canal. He runs past his grand new house. He runs until his legs give out. Pieter returns home at noon. The door is already open. Bailiffs stand inside. They carry his velvet coat out onto the cobblestones. Then his silver pitcher. Then his lace collar. A neighbour watches from a window and pulls the curtain shut. Pieter does not protest. He stands in the street and watches his life carried past him piece by piece. A creditor pushes a paper into his hand. It is a demand for payment. The full amount of every loan. Pieter signs it. He signs another paper. The deed to his canal house. He signs without reading. His hand shakes, but he keeps his face still. The bailiffs leave. The house stands empty. Pieter walks inside. The floors are bare. A single tulip bulb lies on the windowsill. He picks it up. It is the Semper Augustus. Worthless now. He sets it on the sill. Then he finds his diary in the hearth and begins to write. His entry is short. All bulbs returned to earth. He closes the diary. He has no money for food. no roof, no friends. He walks to the churchyard and sits on a stone bench. A woman passes and drops a coin at his feet. He picks it up. He is a beggar now. The historian closes the diary. She sits in her attic study. The afternoon light slants through a small window. She places the diary on her desk beside a stack of municipal records from 1637. She opens a ledger. The ink is faded but legible. She traces a finger down the list of names. There. Pieter van der Heijden. Bankruptcy declaration. February 1637. She reads the details. His debts, his assets listed as zero, his house seized, his business dissolved. She finds another record, a parish poor list from 1638. Peter's name appears again. He died that winter alone, listed as a charity burial. She closes the ledger. She looks at the diary, the small leather spine, the neat handwriting of a man who once believed a flower could make him invincible. She opens the diary one last time. She reads his final entry. All bulbs return to earth. She understands now. Pieter was not a fool. He was a man caught in a wave that felt real until it broke. She sets the diary down gently. She stands and walks to the trunk where she found it. She places the ledger on top. Then she closes the trunk. The room is quiet. On her desk sits a single glass vase with a red and white tulip. She does not touch it. She watches it. A simple flower, a reminder. She turns off the lamp and leaves the room. She pauses at the doorway. Her hand rests on the frame. She looks back at the desk. The diary lies there, small and dark. She cannot leave it. She walks back. Her footsteps are soft on the wooden floor. She picks up the diary. The leather is cool against her palm. She carries it to the trunk. She lifts the heavy lid. It creaks. She places the diary inside, next to the ledger. The two books now rest together. She lowers the lid. It clicks shut. The room falls silent again. She turns. The window catches her eye. Morning light streams through the glass. On the desk by the window stands a single vase. A glass vase. Inside, one tulip. Its petals are red with white streaks. The Semper Augustus. The very flower Pieter once owned. She does not touch it. She only watches. The light traces the curves of the petals. The tulip stands still, patient, innocent. It does not know what it cost. It does not know the dream it carried. It is just a flower, beautiful, fragile. If Pieter had sold at the peak, he would have been rich. He could have kept his shop, his home, his dignity. But he wanted more. He wanted the wave to never break. That is the cost of greed, not the loss of money, the loss of everything else. She steps back. The camera holds on the tulip, a single flower in a vase, a quiet reminder. She turns and leaves the room. The door clicks shut. The tulip remains, bathed in light.